Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome back to another episode of B Movie Bash.
Movie Bash.
And that's why we do testing for the loud parts.
Yes.
Because it always gets loud. I'm Shannon.
I'm Alyssa.
And welcome to December,
Yes,
everybody.
December.
What the actual fuck?
Yep.
Because
When did we start this?
it was toward the beginning of the year,
Yeah.
I think.
Oh shit. We should do something big for our year.
True.
Yeah.
That could be cool. But it's a little hard. Well, I guess we could look at when we first uploaded to YouTube because we didn't upload to Anchor for the first little while.
Yeah.
So we'd have to go on that.
Yeah.
I think. But anyway. Yeah. Welcome to another episode. Today, since we are starting December, I thought it would be fun to start to trickle into the realm of the Christmas time.
Yes.
Because it's after Thanksgiving and no one can give me shit.
Right.
For starting Christmas time, even though I definitely started a month ago.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
No big fight.
It's fine. So this movie is about a Christmas time thing.
Okay.
But it didn't really end up being a Christmas movie at all. It's just one of those movies that's at Christmas time.
Oh, okay. Is it a scary movie or is it just
It's a scary movie,
Okay.
yeah. I was
Alright.
going to go down the other path that we talked about, but I couldn't find anything just
Well,
right.
okay. This is exactly what I wanted to do too.
Okay, cool.
So
I still might. I
Okay.
still might,
Okay.
but not yet. So anyway, today we are talking about 2016's Krampus Unleashed. Krampus. Okay. Yeah. 2.5 on IMDb.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in my research, after I had already chosen it and watched it through one time, I found out that the director of this movie actually put out another movie the previous year that was called Krampus the Reckoning.
Okay.
But I don't think this is a sequel. I think you just might really like Krampus because the
just two different
the lore
Krampus?
is different. The Krampus is different.
Okay.
There's one actor who's in both movies but plays different people.
Okay.
So I was just I'm just gonna do it still. I don't know.
That's fine.
And apparently this one's the worst of the two.
Oh, okay.
So lucky you.
It was probably all his leftover ideas from the first one, and was
Maybe he should have stopped.
Yeah. There's a reason why it gets left on the cutting room floor sometimes.
I should have seen what the rating for that one was, but I did not. Oh well. So this movie starts out as all good movies do.
Yes.
Not with credits, but with title cards.
Oh, yeah.
Because we love title
cards.
Okay. So it says, the year was 1898, and the West was still wild.
Oh.
I was like, oh.
Okay, so it's a Western.
Kind of.
Okay.
It is set in Arizona.
Oh.
So that's, pretty West, I guess. And then that fades to black. And then another one comes on and says, having terrorized the American Southwest for the better part of a decade, a German-born outlaw was running out of time. And then that fades away.
Okay.
And then we get another one that says, with the law closing in, he buried his loot in the desert. And that one fades away.
Okay.
And then we get another one that says, before disappearing into the fog of legend, whatever the fuck that means.
Yeah, what
is that before dying?
Yeah.
Is that real fog?
Yeah.
Doesn't come up again.
I've never heard of the Fog of Legend.
It's
so
apparently not very legendary.
Okay.
But before disappearing into the fog of legend, he left behind a warning. And then that fades.
Okay.
And then we get the message.
Okay, what's our warning?
To those who would follow my trail, take heed. Stay clear of what's been buried, for whomever disturbs it will reap the vengeance of the inferno and bring a living hell onto themselves. Eric Klaus, 1898.
Okay.
And then that fades away.
Okay.
And then we get another one.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. It says, years have passed, and unaware of this warning, a group of fortune hunters are closing in on what they hope will be a king's ransom in outlaw loot. And then we get another title card that says, according to their information, the treasure is buried on a hilltop in the central Arizona desert.
Okay.
End scene.
Oh, good. No worries.
7
Yeah.
title cards.
Oh, I thought that was 50.
Oh, it felt like 50. And I timed it. It was only a minute, but that was the longest minute.
Gosh.
I won't tell you of the whole movie because some of these scenes were awful. But
I'm fine with it starting off as a black screen and then there being font and then more font and then more font and more font.
It fades in. Yeah. But you might as well just have a Star Wars scroll at this point.
at that point. Yeah.
That's a lot. And the heed, the warning was the full page. Yeah. And I was like, that's too much of a warning.
That's too much of a warning.
I don't take you seriously anymore.
No, because all the all the fucking people had to do back in the 1800s was hang a dead body from a tree, and you'd be like, yeah, ye be warned.
I was just gonna say, ye be warned. That's so funny. But yeah.
Right? Like,
so
that's
true.
it.
Yeah. So that is the preamble to this story.
All right.
The next scene, I have no fucking idea what year it's supposed to be. Based on their clothing, I would have thought, like, not too long after 1898. Like, maybe turn of the century, 20s, like, somewhere in there. But then we're led to believe later on in the movie, with the timeline, that it's, like, the 60s. Which makes no sense to me.
Okay. Maybe these people haven't updated their clothes yet.
Maybe. I don't know. They're just, like, wearing old school stuff, I guess. So in this scene, we see a pretty big, burly man who looks like he's trying to be a cowboy or something. He kind of has, like, a plaid shirt on, and he's got, like, a, maybe not leather vest, but it's, like, suede or some kind of skin vest. I don't know.
Okay. Like a buckskin, maybe?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of like a lighter tanned hide kind of situation.
Like
yeah.
Yep.
And he also had a bandana tied around his neck. Ooh. So you know he a cowboy.
He a cowboy. Okay.
Yes. So he's kind of walking through the desert at night, and he has a flashlight, or not a flashlight, too early for that, a lantern. Is it too early for that? They had lanterns. Now I'm double thinking everything, because, like, if it's the 60s, like it's supposed to be.
When were flashlights invented? Let's find out.
Let's do research.
Yeah.
Pretty sure it was, like, back in the way early days.
The 1890s.
Okay. So I think he had a lantern. Either that or he was just poking around in the dark. So he hears a rustling in the bushes, and he yells out, you know, whoever's there needs to come out, or else he's going to light them up, and I'm going to shoot you, and whatever. And he, like, pulls out his gun, and he's waiting. And he waits. He is a patient man, because he waits for a good chunk of time before two other men come out and show themselves. And I'm like, if you, like, they would be shot.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why he waited so long, but all right. But two men come out of the bushes, and one is... Oh. Not doing anything like that. No. One is kind of an older man, I would assume, like, late 50s probably. And the other one, later they say he's, like, in his, like, mid to late teens, but he definitely looked like he was, like, in his 20s. So whatever that's supposed to mean.
Like the whole cast of Spider-Man?
Pretty much. Yeah. The whole cast of everything.
Yeah. The Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, I should say. So.
Yeah. The new one
should have been set with them in college, because it would have been more believable. Anyway.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Yes.
So they come out, and the first guy asks, or he's like, you're so lucky that I didn't blow your heads off, blah, 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 blah. And then he asks them if they've found anything yet. And they're like, no, we've been digging all day, but we haven't found anything, and I'm starting to think that this is a waste of time. Okay. And the first guy says that he thinks the treasure might have already been taken, and that the German, which is someone we haven't met yet, is leading them on a wild goose chase.
Okay.
And the older gentleman says that the German guy used to be part of the Klaus gang that robbed, like, a bunch of, apparently, banks and stagecoaches, and they say this multiple times, so you know how badass he is.
Yeah.
So he robbed a bunch of places, and the German knows what he's talking about, and he knows where to look, even though they've been looking this whole time and haven't found anything. So,
well, I mean, I can't tell you how many times in my own house I set something down and I can't find it later. So like, true. You know.
So then we come across 3 more men. 2 of them are digging a hole, and one of them is holding a lantern so they can see. And the first 3 men walk up, and they're like, hey, have you found anything? No, we haven't found anything. And one of the men who was digging is like, this is the 5th hole that we've dug today, and I'm starting to think this is all a waste of time. And so everyone's kind of getting upset. It's like dark. Like, I don't know what time of day it's supposed to be, but it is dark.
Yeah. Well, you gotta be careful. The yellow spotted lizards are gonna get out
there. I know. Yeah. Do they have sploosh? Yeah. I doubt it. Doubt it. So the German man who's there also mutters something in German, and the guy who stopped digging gets all angry, and he's like, what are you saying? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, if you Americans dug as much as you were talking, we would be dug through to China by now. Like, you guys are ridiculous. But anyway, they start fighting and tussling, and the younger kid kind of breaks them up. And the digger guy that got upset was like, there's no gold, there's no treasure, there's nothing in this hole. And he says that he's basically going to walk away because he's sick of this. And the very first guy that we met is like, okay, but if you leave, like, you're not going to get a share of whatever we find. And he's like, I don't care. And so the German guy calls, like, Auf Wiedersehen, or however you want to say it. I'm not German, I don't know. And he says a few other things. And the guy walking away is like, what did you say to me? And he's like, I said, go on, get out of here.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want you here. And he turns around and he's like, I don't take no orders, or no one tells me what to do, or something like that, and starts walking back.
A little bit of reverse psychology that like, watch this. Yeah, we don't need you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yep, exactly. He comes crawling right back. So they start like pushing each other again when one of the guys who was still digging says that he actually found something. And so they dig a little bit more and they pull up.
Kissing Kate Barlow's lipstick tube?
Pretty much.
Oh.
No. A small rectangular wooden box that had chain like wrapped around it twice.
Okay.
And they use a crowbar to get the chain off. But what it looked like, I don't know, the chain very well could have been like wrapped through a lock that was also like locked onto the box. But it looked like if you slid the box sideways, the chain would just fall off.
Okay.
Yeah, so real secure.
Okay.
Unless it really was through a big lock or something.
That people just think chains stop things.
Yeah.
That's, that's...
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You couldn't just slide it off sideways and be good to go. No. Crowbar.
Yeah.
So they get it open, and they open it, and there's just like a shirt or fabric of some kind. And instead of pulling it all out like a normal human would, they just like kind of like piece through it and like grab a piece and drop it, and they're like, it's just laundry. Someone left their dirty skivvies out here. I'm like,
why would someone bury it though? Like,
like it's probably hiding something, you dummy. Yeah. And Tony pointed out that people actually used to like bury meaningless stuff like that and then bury their treasure deeper. So that people would run into that and stop looking.
See, Tony's smart.
Right?
Yeah.
That's why I have him around. But finally, someone pulls like out the fabric and realizes that there is a like football-sized black smooth rock.
Okay.
That looks like, onyx or, one of those big black rocks. And they see that there's like writing or symbols etched into it. And the German recognizes it and says that it's ancient German writing and that the stones like this have existed since the dawn of time.
Okay.
And when they appear, they bring great evil with them.
Okay.
This was a huge exposition dump. And he says it's a summoning stone. And someone's like, it looks like a piece of coal. And then he says, it was coal that was placed into the shoes of those cursed by angering the old gods. Okay.
It was?
I don't know.
Okay.
Never heard of that before, but I'm not German
thing?
again,
Yeah, okay.
maybe. I don't really know the whole
like
story
one
of
viewer
Krampus.
from Germany, is that true?
Hello, German.
Yeah.
Please let me know. I don't know. But yes, he says that even St. Nicholas himself possessed such a stone, and that he stole it from the pagans and used it to curse those who wouldn't convert.
But...
I don't know, friend. That's just what I'm telling you. So they basically make fun of him for bringing up Santa Claus, and they're like, okay. And they basically start scrambling for the stone.
Who's totally real, by the way.
Yes. Definitely. Okay. Do you think we have young listeners?
No.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Okay. He's real.
Yeah.
So they start scuffling over the rock, and they knock over the lantern. But it doesn't break. It just tips over.
Okay.
And it's still burning.
Okay.
But then they drop the rock, and it breaks the lantern.
Okay.
And the rock catches on fire.
From the oil?
From the fire.
Okay. Like, is it like an electric lamp?
No.
Or like, so it's an oil. So if it's an oil lamp, then
yeah,
okay.
Sure. Okay, so maybe it's burning. Yeah.
Okay.
But then also, the runes or symbols or whatever, they look like old runes, start glowing.
Okay.
So, that's a thing.
Okay.
And then this is the stone glowing.
Oh, this is real cheap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's real bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the German basically says that this means that everybody's dead. And he's like, you stupid fools have awakened him. And they're like, awakened who? And he's like, the Krampus!
Like, okay, why didn't you say that in the first place? Like, oh, we better be really careful with this rock or it's going to summon some fucking demon that's going to, like, steal you, put you in a bag.
He did say it was a summoning stone.
Sure, but, like...
It brings great evil with them.
Yeah. But I straight up would have been like, yeah, no, this brings a fucking demon. Like, not that they would have believed him anyway, but, like...
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. So, he's telling them about bringing Krampus. And all of a sudden, they hear a roar from the desert. Oh. Of course.
So it doesn't summon it, like, right there? Or does he, like, just...
I don't know, he just popped up, like, over there.
He just, like, knows that's there, so I'm going to come over there?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So, they hear a roar off in the distance, and they pull out their guns, and they start running away because they're freaking out. And they leave the stone, which is no longer glowing or on fire, and the lantern isn't there.
Okay.
It's nowhere in the vicinity.
Okay. It just poofed it?
Yeah.
All right.
Just gone. Yeah. So everyone starts running away. But then the digger, who was like all angry and was going to leave, picks up the stone before he leaves.
Okay.
And then we see the group of the 5 other men who are like running, trying to get away, you know, in the desert. Mm-hmm. And they hear another roar. And so they kind of like stop and stand in a circle with their guns up, and they're trying to figure out where it came from. Mm-hmm. And we see them like through Krampus vision.
Okay.
And so like we can see them off in the distance. It's kind of like blurry and staticky. Okay. And if he really sees like that, I feel bad for him. But
you need some glasses, dude.
Yeah, he does.
Or some LASIK.
He's really old.
Yeah.
So
LASIK.
Yeah.
Yep. Imagine Krampus walking into an eye surgeon and being like,
hello. 1 LASIK please, 2 LASIK please.
Yes.
But yeah, so he comes up behind the first guy that we met, and he turns around and Krampus reaches into his torso and pulls out his intestines.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And the second guy that we met, the older guy, starts shooting at Krampus and tells everybody else to run.
Okay.
And he like drops some of his bullets to the ground because he's freaking out.
I would too, probably.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
I would just, my soul would leave my body.
I would
just be dead.
Yep.
Yeah.
No fighting.
No.
I feel like I would fight other things. There are definitely some things in this world I would not fight.
Yeah.
No.
Zombies?
No.
Krampus.
Well,
You would want to fight zombies.
I would very much want.
Depends on the zombie.
True. If we're talking like Walking Dead zombies, gacked.
Okay.
If we're talking
the fast ones,
the fast ones. If we're talking Resident Evil zombies, I might have some problems with that because some of them are like, oh, I'm gonna like barf and it's like it's acid coming out of me, right? You know, that's kind of shit I don't want to deal with. I don't want to deal with any of that.
No.
28 Day Later zombies, that might be a little bit different because they're the fast ones. They're the ones that run at you. You know, they're the ones not eating you. They're the ones just like, I know exactly. I'm not.
No, not in shape for that.
No, yeah, it definitely depends on the zombie we're talking about here. So, yeah. And I just real quick, speaking of zombies, I know. Sorry, I'll let you get back to this.
You're good.
If you are ever in a zombie apocalypse, okay, and you happen to walk past like 5 or 6 zombies that happen to be on the other side of a chain link fence, and you don't kill them,
fuck you.
I'm leaving you behind.
Yeah.
Okay? Because I guarantee you, somehow they're going to get past the chain link fence. Like, if they're there and they're not a threat to you, kill them.
Yeah.
Kill them while you have the bit of, like, you've got tons of energy, you've got a barrier between you. Just kill them while you can.
Yeah.
Kill them while you can.
Even if they don't catch up to you, they're going to kill someone.
And it could be your husband. It could be your child later. It could be one of your good buddies that you've been like surviving the apocalypse with. Like it could be your doctor. It's always the doctor. Okay?
Always the doctor.
Also, the doctors always need to stay inside where it's safe. And like that's they need to stay
be protected.
Be protected. Yes. Always protect your cleric. Anyway.
So he drops some bullets and he's like kneels to the ground to get them. And as he's picking them up, Krampus comes up and pushes him down on his back. And I think he steps on his head.
Okay.
But we don't really see it.
We just hear a crunch.
We see blood splatter.
Oh.
But it doesn't really show like head or anything.
Like
so I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, it was just kind of like bleh.
They didn't have the budget for head rolling? Okay.
No, they did not.
Oh.
Yeah.
Spent it all on that buckskin vest.
Yes, they did. He had that at home.
Yeah.
Who are we joking? They were just like, just come dressed as a cowboy.
Yeah.
You know. Next we see the German running, and he runs straight into Krampus, which is like, Krampus like somehow magicked his way like in front of this guy, basically. Because he was running in a different direction. And Krampus grabs him by the throat, like choke throat, you know, and just like squeezes and rips his arteries.
Oh.
And he just bleeds and dies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Poor German guy.
Yeah. And I do have a picture of Krampus that I was going to try to show you.
So this is what I'm going to be imagining for the rest of the movie?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Did they spend all of their money on Krampus?
No.
No?
No, they did not.
Okay.
No. That is Krampus.
Okay.
Yeah, so he has like the sideways goat pupils, and it kind of looked like a gorilla costume that they made into Krampus. Mm-hmm. He also wasn't just like...
He looks like if a gorilla and a troll had a baby.
He does.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Spot on.
Ah, thank you.
But he wasn't just a fur body. He was like, he had fur. Mm-hmm. But then he was also wearing like raggedy robes, but not like the Santa robes that you sometimes see. It was just like also black robes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
And then we see the man who had the stone come up on a creek where he stops and he's like splashing water on himself. And my favorite was he like scooped some up to take a drink, but you could tell he was like just like sipping nothing, which like obviously you don't want to drink creek water.
Yeah, but
it was just very fake.
They didn't know about that back then?
I don't know what year it was. I don't know.
Very true.
In the 60s, they probably knew a little bit.
Yep.
But who knows? But we see, he like sets the rock down next to him and we can see that it's glowing again. And he like turns and looks at it as Krampus comes up behind him. Mm-hmm. And he drops the rock in the water and Krampus pushes him down and rips out his heart and like holds it up like, nah. And then we just see him, we see Krampus like leaning over him, I assume eating his intestines. Because he loves them intestines.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot about this. Okay. And then the screen goes black and the title says Krampus Unleashed.
Okay.
So the next scene is present day. Mm-hmm. And basically we're getting shots of like the Arizona desert and we see a highway where like cars are driving and all that fun stuff. Yeah, it's present. Yeah.
Present day. Okay.
Which I assume is 2016 because it definitely seems like that. So over this lovely Arizona scene was the worst rendition of Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow that I have ever heard in my life.
Okay.
And it was like they couldn't get the rights to the song, and so they got an instrumental free version, and then they just had some rando sing over the top of it.
Okay.
Who cannot sing.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm excited for this.
But as long as you love me so, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
What?
And it's so, like, I know you've got it turned up a little, but it's so...
Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. It doesn't show signs of stopping. And a broad song goes for power. The lights are turned down low.
Oh!
Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
Like he's
it's all out of the nose.
He almost sounds like he doesn't speak English.
Yeah.
Like there's an accent there. And
that's very bad.
Yeah. Like the first time I watched it, I called Tony over and I unplugged the headphones and I just looked at him with my mouth open like, what the actual fuck is this? Earblood. My God.
Oh my gosh. That's so bad.
Yeah. So that was painful and I'm glad I shared it with you.
Yes, thank you.
So, Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
See you next time.
I would rather listen to Mariah Carey's 6 times. 6 times a day.
Just ongoing for the rest of my life.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then listen to that.
Yeah.
Oh.
But anyway, we see some cars driving down the highway and we kind of like start getting the same shot of this one car. So we know we're like following that car. And it's driving down the highway and the scene goes like inside the Jeep so we can see the family. And there is a mom whose name is Amber, getting all this out of the way. Dad whose name is Will. Sister Fiona and brother Tommy.
Okay.
And Fiona is probably like 15. It's always Tommy.
Yep.
And Tommy is like 12. And he's a cute little kid.
Yeah.
Like he is going to break some hearts one day. But the dad basically says that like according to the navigation system, they're almost there. And the mom turns around and she asks if he is excited to see his grandparents. And he's like, the last time I saw them was when I was so young, I don't even remember. Like, I have no idea. And she was like, well, that's exactly why we're coming out here, you know? And like, your cousin Troy will be there too. And he's like, well, I fucking hate Troy. He doesn't say fucking. He's like, I hate Troy. He always tries to mess with me. And the sister adds that Troy is a pervert. Because last year when they got together, she caught him trying to take pictures of her through her window. So that's cool.
How old is the sister?
She's like 15. Yeah. And he's like same age-ish. And the mom is like, well, you know, it's been a year since we saw them, so maybe Troy has grown up since then. And the dad says that he hopes that her brother has grown up too. And she was like, nice. Real nice. Like, okay. Family dynamics are strong.
Right? Okay.
Great.
Weird conversations.
Yeah. So they pull up to like a typical desert home. So it's like stucco, adobe, whatever house. And it's like flat top and there's cactus all over the place. And as they get out, their grandma.
Get more Arizona than that.
I know. It was very.
Wait, did they have like sun decorations on the
I'm
side?
sure they did. I'm sure. How can you not?
That's
it comes with the house.
Yep.
Yeah. But they pull up and the grandma comes out and greets them. And the grandma asks the grandpa and Will to get the suitcases while she takes the mom and the kids inside. And they walk in, and she tells the mom about the bedrooms that everyone's going to be staying in and, like, leads them down the hallway, and the sister goes with them. And Tommy is left just standing in the living room, and you can see that there's, like, a couple deer head trophies and a bear head and, like, a cougar head up on the wall. And so he's just kind of, like, checking it out. And then the grandpa and the dad come in, and there's this, like, long fucking conversation about the grandpa catching this cougar. And it's, like, the most unrealistic looking thing I've ever seen. Like, I expected it to, like, start singing Christmas carols or something. Like a singing bass head. But, basically, he talks about how this cougar was hunting on a, like, the next ranch over's ranch, killing their cows and stuff. And the rancher had tried to kill him, but he and his, you know, whoever he was hunting with got, like, eviscerated by this thing. And once they get a taste for blood, they won't stop. And, you know, all of these parallels that are going to carry over into the movie because that's how it works. And he says that he was lucky when he killed it because he snuck up on it while he was eating. And it still took, like, half a dozen rounds to kill this thing. And, like, it just goes on for a very long time. And he's like, the beast becomes smarter and stronger and quicker. And then they get the taste for blood. And they don't stop. And you're like, okay. Thank you, Grandpa. What a nice lesson. And then we go to this very small, rundown gas station that's, like, made of stone. And has, like, 2 pumps out front that are just, like, side by side, little old, very old, awful pumps. And this guy pulls up in a truck and he goes inside, and we later find out that his name is Roger. And he goes up and he grabs, like, a 6-pack of beer and he puts it on the counter, and they're just talking and chatting and stuff. And the guy behind the counter asks Roger if he's caught the big guy yet. And we find out that he is hunting Sasquatch.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And he's like, no, I just keep missing him. I lost his tracks over on, you know, Dead Man's Gulch or something stupid like that. And this lady walks out, who I assume is the cashier's wife. Like, it's like a family-run kind of place, but they don't ever say that. And she's like, stop leading him on about all this nonsense. Like, meow, meow, there's no Sasquatch. And Roger, like, pulls out his phone and shows her this picture. He's like, what do you call that? She goes, that's just blurry nonsense. And I was like, I like that a little bit.
Blurry nonsense.
That's funny. But yeah, he, like, tells her that he's crazy and he knows he's getting close and all of this stuff. And she tells him that he needs to stop getting drunk before he goes hunting. But anyway, as this conversation happens, we can see, like, the inside of the store, obviously. And it's so dirty and run down. And there's, like, 2 things hanging up on, like, the shelves of the racks. And, like, behind the counter there's, like, these ginormous, like, farmhouse style sinks filled with, like, dirty shit. And I'm like, what is this place? How are they staying open?
Yeah.
Like, the tiles on the ceiling are all moldy, and, like, there's a light hanging down with, like, a Budweiser can, like, the size of a coffee can, like, hanging as if it's a light fixture. I'm just like, what?
Okay.
The actual fuck?
Okay.
I don't know. It was really weird. So I was like, what are they selling? How do they stay in business? Drugs?
Him buying 6
Beer.
packs of beer.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, that's pretty much all of that
Well, then
scene.
she should not be telling him to not be
Right?
drunk.
Be encouraging him.
She should be like, well, you need another 6-pack.
You need to drink some more.
Yeah.
And then we see another family coming down the highway. And we learn that that is Troy and his parents.
Okay.
So they're headed to the grandparents' house. But the husband says that the low fuel light just came on. And he's like, oh man, I thought we would get further than that, but we'll have to stop. And then he's like, well, 600 miles on 1 tank of gas isn't bad, huh, Troy? And Troy's just like, what the fuck ever, Dad?
Yeah.
I don't care. And he's the most, like, awful, I want him to die in this movie teenager. Like,
Is he supposed to be 12 too?
No, I think he's like 16 or something like that.
Oh,
like, he's older.
Okay, then that's very
He's an
inexcusable
asshole.
for him to be peeping in the neighbors, or like get, like, you got your 11, 12-year-old that's just hitting puberty, and that's where you sit him down and you're like, listen, first of all, that's your cousin.
That's not okay.
Second of all, that's not okay. Third of all, that's super not okay. Don't be doing that to nobody.
Yeah.
You wait for marriage, and then if that's what she's into too, that's what you do. But like, that's...
Yeah.
So, like being 15, 16, that's...
Yeah, he's old enough. He's at least the cousin's age, if not older.
That should be getting
He
your
knows
ass kicked.
damn well. Yeah, this kid should have been on an episode of Jerry Springer where they, like, bring in the boot camp guy.
Oh, yeah?
That's this kid.
Oh,
He drove me nuts the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at first I was like, oh, is this going to be, like, the naughty kid gets killed by Krampus because Krampus is about naughty children.
Yeah.
No.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Krampus in this apparently is just...
He just kills everybody.
He's unleashed.
He is.
Yeah.
He's just thirsty.
Yeah.
For blood. So, anyway, he's like, yeah, whatever, Dad. What the fuck ever. I don't give a shit. But they pull up at the same gas station, and the dad is like, well, we still have a little ways to go, so if anyone needs to go to the bathroom, like, this is the place. And the wife, whose name is Viv, was like, I am not peeing here. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
And he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go get some gas. And he pulls up, so the gas pumps are next to each other, okay? Side by side. There's no other gas pumps.
Okay.
He pulls up in front of the left one and then backs up so that he's in front of both of them.
Asshole.
To get gas.
Asshole.
Like, why?
Why would you do that?
What? Like, another car probably can't fit there anyway, but like,
Rude.
Okay. Anyway, just wanted to point that out because it made me really
no
upset.
wonder why the son is the way that he is.
Right?
Yep.
Exactly. And this guy is like, yeah, he's weird. His name is David. I didn't say that. His name is David. So the dad and the son go inside, and as they like get out of the car, the mom like reaches over and locks it because she's all creeped out about this like rinky-dink place, right? Yeah. And
well, I mean, if they're using a Budweiser beer can for a light fixture,
I mean, it is kind of sketchy for sure. But like, she was just like really prissy about it. But they go inside, and he's like, yeah, I just need some gas, and he pulls out his card, and the cashier's like, well, it's cash only. He's like, oh, are you serious? And he's like, yeah, I'm serious. And he's like, okay, well, do you have an ATM? He's like, yeah, I do. And the dad's like, okay, where is it? He's like, oh, it's broken. Like, you're an asshole.
Yeah, you're an
and then he's like, okay, great, lovely. So he goes out to the car, and the son goes up to the cashier, and he's like, hey, you got a bathroom? And he's like, yeah. He's like, okay, where is it? Well, that doesn't work either. Then why just be up front?
Yeah.
Like, why? I hate conversations like this in movies.
Oh my gosh.
It just doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Stop it.
Yep. They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna make this memorable, useless character
that means nothing.
That means nothing.
We never see him again.
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe once.
Fucking
but I
people.
don't think so. He doesn't mean anything. So anyway, the dad goes out and he asks his wife for cash, and she's like, I don't like it here. This guy keeps staring at me. And he's like,
we don't have any gas.
I know. What do you want to do?
Where are we going to go?
And to be fair, the guy that's sitting out front, he's just like sitting in front of the gas station drinking beer, and he has like a cut off white t-shirt, and he looks
he the
slimy.
Sasquatch hunter?
No.
Oh, okay. He's just some other guy.
But he looks, slimy. And he's like, well, that just means you still got it. You should take it as a compliment.
No.
Like, asshole husband.
Yeah, asshole.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
I'll take compliments from you. I won't take them from him. Thanks.
Right.
Yeah.
But it flashes to Roger and his friend Terry, who are standing behind the gas station looking at a footprint in the dirt.
Okay.
And just like a little ways back behind him is also Troy, who is just peeing on the side of the gas station with the man right there. Which I was like, okay.
That's a
I know
weird.
I'm a girl, but like, no.
Not in front of other guys.
No.
Like,
It was weird.
Yeah.
But anyway, they're talking about the footprint and, just pointing it out and whatever. And Troy comes over and he's like, what are you even talking about? And so they tell him that they're looking for Sasquatch and this is a Sasquatch track and all this stuff. And he's like, Bigfoot. Really? All right. Okay. And, we see a quick clip of the dad who goes in because he found a 20 in the mom's purse and he gets gas. And then it flashes back to Troy, who has pulled out his phone and starts like laughing and recording these guys and like making fun of them because he's that dick.
Okay.
And they're like,
sir, you are standing alone as like a teenage boy in a sketchy area.
Yeah.
And you're going to laugh and record these two guys
who definitely have guns in their truck.
Yeah.
Like, that's this
you're
kind
gonna
of
get your
town.
ass kicked.
Yeah.
You should get your ass kicked.
Yeah.
As a dad, I would be like, kick his ass. Like,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Teach him a lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he like,
kid up. Yeah.
he starts getting in their face. And so they're like, get out of here, kid. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, no. And his dad like pulls past in the car and is like, we're leaving. Get in the car. So they leave. And then Troy and his family pull up to the grandparents' house and David,
$20 of gas? Damn.
I know, right? I don't know how much further it was,
Yeah.
but I think it's like the same town, but further, because Terry and Roger live in the same town, so I don't know. But David, the dad, makes this weird comment about the Jeep that the other family drove, and he's like, "Oh, you think that's Will's car?" And the mom's like, "Well, it's probably a rental because they flew here." And because it's a Jeep, he like talks about how like uneconomical it is and all this stuff. And he has this weird like I'm green and I'm better than you thing throughout the whole movie for no fucking reason. It was so weird. I was like, are we just showing he's an arrogant asshole? Or like
San Fran? Where are they from?
I don't know. It maybe. But
Maybe.
I don't think they point that out. It was just, I don't know. It was dumb. But they pull up, and the grandma meets them outside again and greets everybody. And Troy's mom, Viv, realizes that he hasn't even gotten out of the car. Like, he's not paying attention at all. And so she reaches in and, like, yanks out his headphone. And she's like, get in there and say hi to your family.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh my God, it's so lame.
Okay, well then sit in the car for the rest of the stay.
And die.
I
don't give a shit.
Like, it's hot out here.
You're going to
no
fry?
Food. Yeah, you're going to
so
fry.
have fun.
No food.
Good thing you just peed.
Yep.
'Cause, yeah.
Yeah. Don't come in for to charge your phone or anything. Sit out here.
Yeah.
Like,
and there's no service either, so have fun.
Yeah.
Buddy.
Sitting there.
Yeah. Tommy and his dad are sitting inside, and they realize that the family has pulled up, and Grandpa's like, oh, you know, David's here. So great. And the two of them are like, I'm not ready to deal with their family, but here we go. And so they walk outside to greet everybody. And even though they just saw this family a year ago, they're like, oh, hey, do you remember Tommy? Oh, hey, do you remember your cousin Troy? Ha! I'm like, you just said that you saw each other a year ago. And I know you're doing introductions.
Yeah.
But, like...
I know. But we've already established that they're cousins.
Like, can't you just say that you also haven't seen them since...
Yeah.
I don't know. It was dumb.
Yeah.
It was
like,
stupid.
oh my gosh, you've grown up so much in the last year. I barely recognized you, Tommy. That's the way you get...
Yeah. Well, and they did that.
Uh-huh.
Also, even though they just saw them last year.
Yeah, that's
like, oh, you're in 7th grade now? Wow, you've gotten so big. And Fiona's almost grown. And I was like, ugh.
That's just...
Stupid.
People that only talk to each other once a year kind of stuff. Yeah. I rarely talk to my cousins, whom I love y'all, and I don't talk to them like that. If I walked up and was like, oh my gosh, we haven't seen each other in like 4 years, do you remember who I am? They'd be like, yeah. Like,
yes, Alyssa.
Yes.
What? Yeah, exactly. It was just stupid.
It's not like a 7-year time gap.
No. A year.
Yeah.
I get with the grandparents if they were like, wow, Tommy, you're so grown up. Like, sure, that makes sense.
That makes sense.
If it's been like 10 years.
Yeah.
Also, I noted that the teens are dressed in such a stupid, like, teenagery way. Mm-hmm. The daughter, Fiona, is wearing a white sweater with a giant blue hashtag on the front. Okay. And then Troy is wearing a long sleeve white shirt with a short sleeve blue shirt on top of it because 2016.
Yep.
And it says, stay back, I'm allergic to stupid.
Oh my.
Yeah. And at the beginning of the movie, he was wearing a beanie, but like at the top of his head, so there was like extra beanie sticking up like a fucking idiot. So, they tried really hard to make Troy look like that awful teenage boy, and it worked. He's the worst.
Yep.
So over the next scene, the women are like in the kitchen getting dinner ready and all this stuff, and Troy comes in and starts rummaging through the fridge, and his mom is like, we're making dinner right now.
Yeah.
Like, we're almost ready to eat. And he's like, so? And he like backs out of the fridge and he takes an entire pre-made sandwich, like with regular bread, not like I got this hoagie at the gas station, like a sandwich, and a slice of pizza. I was like, okay.
I'm backhanding a kid if he does that. Like, so help me. Like, I hate when people disrespect their mothers.
Yeah.
Like,
and then Viv apologizes to the grandmother, and she's like, I'm sorry, like, he's just going through a phase. And the grandma's like, no, actually, he reminds me of David at his age. I was like, that's not a good thing. No.
Maybe you should have been backhanding your own kids.
Yeah. The rest of the family is sitting in the living room, and they're watching a movie, and someone comes over and like sits down, and he's like, oh, what movie is this? And I think it's David. He's like, oh, what are we watching? And Will's like, I don't know, some Christmas thing. And it's Krampus, like one of the original like old school Krampus movies. And he talks about like the propaganda and consumerism of Christmas and all this stuff because he's David.
Better than everyone else.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Troy comes over and sits down next to Fiona on this like small love seat, like right next to her, up next to her, and she's like trying to scoot away, but she can't.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Dude, that is your cousin.
Yeah.
Like,
it's fucking weird. Stop it. We get a shot of like the TV with the heads on the wall and stuff, and David is like, I just can't believe we're surrounded by all this murder. I didn't want to come to this house, and I used to not come here and all this stuff because of all the heads and the animal killing and the murder and the stuff. It's like, okay, buddy.
Okay, buddy.
And then he says that he realized that he needed to become more tolerant for those less evolved. fuck you.
Fuck you.
Dude.
Yeah.
This is your mother and father's house.
Yeah.
It's not like you married into this family.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's, sitting around and whatever, and Tommy points out this big, good-sized chunk of gold that is sitting under, like, a glass dome that the grandpa has on display. And he's like, whoa, is that real? And his dad is like, okay, buddy, like, don't touch it. But Troy goes over and picks it up. And his dad is like, oh, no, it's fine. Grandpa won't mind. And they have, like, this weird, like, dads don't agree shit the whole time. So that's really fun.
That's fun.
Yeah. And so David explains that, like, Grandpa found it on his property down by the creek, and maybe they should go panning sometime and all this stuff. And he's like, why don't we go right now? And Will's like, I don't know about that. Like, dinner's almost ready. And David basically, like, gets up and he's like, nope, we're getting the pans. Let's go, boys. Like, fuck you, dude.
Fuck you, dude.
Like, as one dad, can't you respect another dad?
Yeah, seriously.
It drove me nuts. Anyway, we go over to the local police station, and this stupid fucking storyline is such a stupid fucking storyline. Like, it doesn't make it doesn't matter. There's, like, one dispatch person and one police officer, because it's that small of a town.
Okay.
And the dispatch woman talks to the officer about working on the holidays and all this stuff. How did you get roped into this? Ha ha ha. And then she's like, well, what about the little woman? What is she going to feel about this? And he's like, well, she actually moved all her stuff out last week, so she doesn't really have a say. And she's like, oh man, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't hear about that. And he's like, well, you didn't have to live with her, so it's not much of a loss, if you know what I mean. Ha ha ha. And then they fist bump. And he says, boom, a single life. Yep. And then, and he says that he has to.
Why do they feel the need to have to, like, relate to the young kids, the young people, when there's no young people around?
I don't know.
Talk like you're old.
Yeah. I mean, they were, like, probably a little bit older than us, like maybe mid-30s or something, but still.
Well, but I don't
say boom, single life.
No.
And as he's walking out, the dispatch lady says, all right, well, watch out for falling reindeer turds.
Ew.
Like, couldn't you say, like, keep an eye out for flying reindeer?
Yeah.
Or something?
Yeah.
Not fucking turds?
Yeah.
All right, lady. She was, like, one of the worst actors of the show, also.
That's stupid.
So that's that scene.
Yep.
It's really stupid. So the boys come up to the creek, and Troy's, like, complaining the whole way. He's like, I didn't realize it was this far, and he's, like, huffing and puffing and upset. And David shows Tommy how to pan for gold, and he's, like, scooping up water and all this stuff.
He's probably, like, a half mile away from the house.
Yeah, I think David says it's, like, half a mile, like, less than half a mile away. And
that's like a 6-minute walk.
But
Okay.
as Tommy is, like, having his own turn, David stands up and he's like, do you smell that? And Will is like, smell what? And he realizes that Troy is off smoking a cigarette. And he's like, he's smoking again. And he gets all upset. So he walks off to, like, confront Troy. And while he's gone, this woman walks up. And you can tell that she is a born and raised Arizonan, because she's wearing, like, one of those, like, ponchos that's basically, like, Native American-y symbols or whatever. But it's, like, more of, like, a wrap, like, it's open in the front, so that she can show off her boobs. Because she has been deemed by Tony as Tits McGee.
Okay.
Because she has, like, one too many a button unbuttoned.
Oh, okay.
And she's just showing all the cleavage, okay?
Oh, I thought she was naked.
Oh, no.
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
No, sorry. No.
I was like,
she might as well
be, those movies.
Honestly.
Okay. Yeah.
But, yeah, it's just all up in your face.
Okay.
Yeah. She introduces herself to them as Bonnie and says that she, like, lives around here, and she talks to them about panning for gold and all this stuff. And she's, like, leaning down helping Tommy, and then Troy walks over and he's complaining about all of this, and he's like, it's so lame, and I can't find my way back alone, so we need to leave, like, this is stupid. And he, like, comes into the clearing, and Bonnie stands up and he's like, oh, how you doing? And, like, acts like a dick because boobs.
Yeah. And also, you're a child.
Yeah.
So I'm not coming after you, sir.
Yeah, she's like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Good.
Great. And David walks up and he, like, introduces himself and all this stuff, and she is like, okay, well, nice to meet everybody, so gotta go. And David says that it's time for them to head back too. And Bonnie, like, walks away, and Troy's like, now that's one sweet piece of ass. Like, dude. And he's, like, not even a cute teenager.
Yeah.
Like, he's not it at all. And as they start to walk away, Tommy is, like, in the back, and he notices a very large black rock in the water. and pulls it out
Okay.
and takes it home.
That many years later?
Yep. Apparently no one ever saw that in the water and took it.
Okay.
Where they went and panned for gold.
Yep.
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
Maybe they were like, what an ugly rock. I'll leave it there.
I mean, it was just plain black until
Yeah.
you looked at it, so that's fair, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Maybe, yeah, probably nobody looked at it.
yeah.
Nobody even wanted it. And that was, did you say Bonnie was a neighbor?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we see, the next scene is Bonnie back at her house.
Okay.
And her doorbell rings, and we see the officer, whose name is Dan, standing there. And we find out that he is the ex. Or she is his ex.
She's the one left. Okay.
Yeah. And so he's like, I just wanted to check in on you since it's Christmas and say hi. And he's like, I like what you've done with the place. Haha. And she's just like, why are you here? Like, you need to leave.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? Is your boyfriend here? And she was like, my boyfriend has a name, and that's not why you need to leave. You just need to leave. And he was like, well, you know that he has a record, right?
She got a boyfriend that fast?
Yeah.
Or did she like...
Maybe she had one. I don't know what the story is, but he says that her boyfriend has a record and that he has a lead foot and he doesn't pay his fines, and so he's had his driver license revoked twice. He's a bad man.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And she's like, okay, well, you need to stop checking into the people that I'm dating, and you need to leave.
I think that's technically illegal. I'll have to ask Zach.
Probably because it's like using your power
Yeah.
to look into people. Like, I have a whole database of people who have abused their children, and I can't just go searching through it.
Yeah,
like,
no.
that's not allowed.
Yeah.
You can't look up anything unless it's related to a case that you were working on.
I have people's credit card information.
Right?
I'm not going to go telling people that. Like,
Or using it.
or using it. Yeah, no.
But she tells him to leave, and she closes the door on him. And then we go back to the grandparents' house, and Tommy is sitting outside on the back porch, and he's just kind of like sitting there checking out the rock and whatever. And off over in the distance, in the dark, Troy is smoking a cigarette, and he starts coughing. And Tommy's like, oh, I didn't even see you there. I didn't know you were there. And he was like, yeah, well, pretend that I'm not. It's better that way. But then...
I will do that for the rest of forever.
for the rest of my life.
Yes.
Thank you very much for the permission. But then Troy walks over to him and starts talking about how stupid the rock is. And he's like, what are you doing? Just looking at your dumb rock? And then he takes it from him.
Okay.
Because he's an asshole. And Troy's mom at that point comes out and catches him smoking. And so he like sets the rock down on a table and he tries to put the cigarette out on the rock. And the runes start growing. Glowing. Not growing. Glowing again.
It's a grower, not a shower.
It's a glower.
It's a glower, not a shower.
Not a shower.
That's a dumb joke. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I apologize.
And then we flash back to Bonnie's house, and we saw her like putting in dinner earlier, and then now she is getting undressed in her bathroom, and we get like a first-person camera view of Bonnie getting undressed through the window because you can like see the blinds and stuff. And she gets down to her underwear and bra, and then she like walks out of the room, and then we see that there's like a man standing there, and he's like looking around. He's like, oh damn it, she left, you know, shit, whatever. And then all of a sudden she is up behind him with a shotgun, and she's like she covered up with a robe and stuff, and she's like, what the fuck do you think you're doing, sneaking up on here? Put your hands up. And she like pushes him up against the wall, and then she like reaches around and she's like, oh, but what's this? And I was like, oh, it's a sex thing.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, great. And she like flips him around and they start making out and all this stuff.
That's exactly what I'm talking about when it's consensual between adults.
Yeah,
peeking through windows.
Exactly.
Like,
that's fine. But it kind of wasn't, because he really did sneak up on her. And he was like, I told you I'd be home for Christmas. I was just surprising you. And she was like, I should shoot you for sneaking up on me and all this stuff. But yeah, they start making out and they kind of move into the house, and the timer for the oven goes off. And then we go back to Terry and Roger, and Terry is outside of like this camper that I guess maybe they both live in. I don't really know what that situation is. Yeah, but he's outside smoking and he hears a loud growl. And Roger comes outside because he heard it too from inside.
Okay.
And they start grabbing like all this equipment and their night vision cameras and guns and all this stuff. And Roger pulls out this really big high-powered gun, and Terry's like, well, that's a lot of power. Like, okay. And Roger's like, well, yeah, it'll probably take a lot to bring this thing down. And Terry's like, you're gonna kill it? He's like, yeah. What did you think all of this was for? Like, we have to have proof. Like, no one's gonna believe us. And Terry's like, oh, I didn't realize that was the plan. But, like, it's the only one out there, so if we kill it, like, there won't be any left and all this stuff. And it was, like, this stupid conversation that went on for a very long time. Like, even Tony was like, what is happening? What are we doing? This is stupid. But, yeah, basically he says that, you know, they have to take it down because even picture evidence won't be enough, and everybody thinks they're crazy and all this stuff. And Roger goes into Darwinism, and Charles Darwin, and Terry's like, oh, is that the guy that used to drive the blue Honda? And he's like, no, you idiot. It's this person who, talks about evolution and survival of the fittest and natural selection and all this stuff. And so you're like, oh, okay, great. Okay. And so if they can find him and kill him, that's natural selection for him. And I was just like, why? Why are these conversations
What are we talking about?
I hated it.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Get on with it.
But yeah, Roger talks about how everyone thinks they're crazy, and he's like, don't you hear them laughing and murmuring as you walk by? And Terry's like, no, I didn't realize they did that.
Oh.
And I was like, oh.
Poor Terry.
And Terry is the one who was in the other movie too, as someone else. But anyway, Roger's like, if we don't have a body, we don't have proof, so let's go out there, let's hunt this thing. Mm-hmm. And then we flash back to Bonnie's house, and she has one of those, like, inflatable hot tubs outside, and the boyfriend is in the hot tub, and I assume that he is naked because Bonnie walks out in a robe, and he's like, Merry Christmas, baby, and she takes off her robe and shows off her tits, and is like, Merry Christmas to you, and then she gets in the tub, and they start making out, and then it flashes to another scene, so that's all we get of that.
Okay, that's gross.
And
we could have started off the scene with them being in the hot tub.
We could have, but then they wouldn't have shown her boobs.
True.
So
true.
Yeah.
True.
We go back to the grandparents' house, and Will and the grandpa are in the kitchen, and they're like the only ones out there. I guess other people kind of like went off to their rooms. And the grandpa pulls out some moonshine for them to try. And Will, takes a big swig because this is his father-in-law, and he starts like coughing and hacking and stuff. And then it shows Fiona and her mom who are in one of the bedrooms. And the mom is kind of like making the bed and putting pillows up and stuff. And Fiona is just looking at her phone, complaining about how there's no service. Mm-hmm. And it shows Troy coming down the hall. And he hears them in the bedroom. And he starts creeping up to the doorway. And he sees Fiona standing there. And mind you, she is in full-length pajamas. Like, it's not like she was wearing a tank top and booty shorts. It's just like, here's my flannel pajama set. You know what I mean? And he sees her standing there and he goes, oh shit. And he starts pulling out his phone and recording her. And I was like, what? I appreciate them not flaunting her for her body, but also like, that makes no sense.
Yeah. Fuck this kid.
Yeah. But Fiona...
He's a fucking incel.
Yeah. Fiona notices him and she starts yelling at him, and then the mom figures out what's going on and tells him to like stop filming and get out of there. And he just kind of like laughs it off and walks away. He's like,
oh no, I don't care whose fucking kid that would be. I'd be slapping another kid.
You'd be dead.
Yeah.
No.
I don't even have children, but if anyone did that to any of my friends' kids, I'm slapping someone else's kid.
Yeah. But yeah, he just laughs and walks down the hall, and then he goes into the bedroom that he is sharing with Tommy, and he's kind of still chuckling to himself, and Tommy is sitting in his bed, still checking out his rock, and Troy gives him shit about it. He's like, oh, you're gonna go to bed? You're gonna sleep with that thing now? Ha ha ha. And
you want to have like lung cancer before you turn 25?
You fucking idiot.
Like,
and then he sits down in his bed, and he's like, your sister's pretty hot.
Ugh.
And Tommy's like, that's your cousin.
Good, Tommy.
Yeah. But then he goes, so it's legal in some places.
So
he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's a fucking creep.
He's a creep.
Like, Okay.
If you're talking about, like... Well, it's legal in some places. Yeah, she also has to like you back mostly. Like,
yeah, it has to be consensual marriage, sir.
Like,
and she doesn't, and there isn't.
Because you're not being charming in any way, which is also like don't. It's weird. Don't.
Yeah.
But
at least.
Yeah.
But don't.
You gotta at least be charming.
Yeah. Be at least a nice person. Mm-hmm. So then we go back to Roger and Terry, who are creeping through the dark in the desert, and Roger hears something in the bushes, and he runs off to shoot it. We see that he just shot, like, some kind of small rodent animal, like maybe a fox or a coyote or something. And Terry, like, loses his shit laughing, because he's like, oh, I'm Roger, and I'm gonna go hunt this big Sasquatch. And then he's just, he's just laughing and making fun of him. And then they hear another loud growl off in the distance. And they're like, oh, did you hear that? Oh, my goodness. And then they say, did you hear that? It's getting louder. And then Terry says, it sounds like a stampede. There is literally no sound. There's music-y, like, low, sound in the background, but there's no roaring or footsteps or anything. So I was like, does it?
Try to say shit like that.
Right? They're like, maybe if we just tell them that that's how it is, they'll believe us.
You're like, oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure I heard that.
Yeah. We'll go with that. Yeah. But yeah, they both have their guns drawn, and they talk about going back to the truck because they don't want to deal with whatever this thing is.
Yeah.
And then we see them from behind through Krampus vision, and he comes up behind them and just, I don't know if he like knocks their heads together or just like squeezes, or I don't know, he grabs their heads and kills them.
Okay.
So they're dead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Krampus has just been wandering the desert.
Killing people. Yeah.
Okay.
Because why not?
Okay.
Yeah. Because bloodlust.
Okay.
Yep.
Right.
So we're back to
I'm
Bonnie's.
just saying, like, that's... if he's wanting to kill that many people, you'd think that he would just be, like, finding a bigger city. Like...
I mean, he was summoned by the stone.
I guess,
He
yeah.
has no choice.
True. Or did he, like, kill all the people that he came across with the men and then was like, well, back to sleep. Like, and then...
Well, they do say later that once he has filled his bloodlust, he goes back to
How do you
whatever.
decide when you're full? Do you just like, oh, I shouldn't have had that third help into bloodlust
Right?
there?
I don't know. I have no idea. They don't explain it. But so we go back to Bonnie and her boyfriend, who obviously just did it in the hot tub, which just sounds...
It's hot.
It's
I don't
just
I don't
not
want
good.
that
No. Bonnie says that she'll be right back, and she goes to get out of the hot tub, and the camera changes angles so that we can see her from the front getting out of the hot tub because boobs.
Because boobs.
Yeah.
Gotta have a quota.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the boyfriend hears a growl off in the distance, and so he kind of like gets out of the tub and he starts wrapping a towel around himself and like being like, is anybody there? Like, what's going on? And he starts going to explore, and we see Bonnie inside, who has put a robe on, and she's like fixing her hair in the mirror, and she hears a noise outside, and so she goes to see what it was, and she realizes that her boyfriend is not in the hot tub anymore. And so she starts calling for him and walking around a little bit, and she walks a little further, and she sees her boyfriend ripped in half at the waist, and Krampus is feasting on his intestines. Because those intestines, though.
They're so yummy.
Yeah. Just all the good stuff. And I don't know how she didn't see him, because like it was like the length of her house, and it was like her at the door, the hot tub, and then them just a little bit further down here, but it's like a straight shot. Okay. So I don't know how she didn't see them before, but anyway, she screams and runs, and she goes inside and she grabs a shotgun, and she comes out and she has 3 rounds in there, so she fires at him, and he does not give a shit, and he just keeps coming.
It's Krampus, bitch.
Yeah. So she drops the gun and she runs. And then we go back to Tommy and Troy in their room, where we see the rock is glowing again. And Will and his grandpa are still in the kitchen drinking, and I don't really know like how much time has passed at this point, but Bonnie has run up to their house because I think she's like a direct neighbor.
Yeah.
And starts banging on the door and like begging for them to be let inside. And like the conversation that happens is like, Will is like, are you expecting anyone? The grandpa's like, no, I'm not. And like walks over to the door.
As she's over there like...
Yeah, she's like, please, it's Bonnie, let me in. Like all of this stuff. And the grandma is like also walking down the hall really slowly like, what's going on? That's so weird.
Oh my gosh.
And so the grandpa lets her in, and she says that they need to call 911. And they're like, okay, what happened? And she was like, something attacked my boyfriend and he's dead. And the grandma's direct reply is, Bonnie, why are you dressed in a bathrobe? We were just attacked and my boyfriend is dead.
Yeah.
Like, what?
What does it matter what I'm wearing?
Yeah. I was like, this is so stupid. But she pushes past them, and she grabs their phone and she calls 911, and the dispatch lady answers, and Bonnie tells them that a creature attacked them, and she fired a few rounds and it didn't stop, and all this stuff. And the dispatch person puts her on hold, and she's like, oh, are you going to call? Are you going to have someone come out? Like, what are you doing? But she just puts her on hold. And she calls Dan and tells him that he might want to check this situation out. But she gives him the address, and he realizes that it's Bonnie's house, and he takes off. And the men decide that they are going to go outside and look for this thing. Because that's the smart thing to do.
All these people who are not trained to go out and look for these things.
Yeah.
Right.
So they grab a gun and they go out, but they can't find anything. And so the sons talk about going back to the house when they hear a growl. And the grandpa says that he thinks he found something, and he sees these giant hoof prints, and Will is like, are those cow hoof prints? And Grandpa's like, have you ever seen a 2-legged cow? And like all this stuff, but they look like just like a big U, like someone took a horseshoe and like stamped it in the dirt. I'm like, that's not what hooves look like.
No.
Like goat, cow, whatever they are. They're like The two little, like,
They got-
teardrop
yeah.
shapes kind of things. You
Yeah.
know? Like, I don't know. It was dumb. I was
They
like,
got
okay.
toes.
Yeah.
Like,
But they start to head back to the house when they hear another growl, and so the grandpa starts going through the bushes and looking, and then Krampus comes up and hits Will in the head and then rips his arm off.
oh, okay.
So he's down.
Oh.
And then the grandpa tries to get his gun cocked, but Krampus claws at his stomach and rips out his guts.
Because he likes
As
them.
you do.
His best part.
Yeah.
Yeah, his best part.
But David manages to run away, and he makes it back to the house, and he tells everybody that they need to get out of there. And they're like, well, where's Will? Where's Grandpa? And he's like, they're dead. They didn't make it. There's a creature. And, blah, blah, blah. And Bonnie says that she's on the phone with the police and that they're safer in the house and all of this stuff. And David's like, no, we'd be safer if we got in the car and drove 100 miles away from here. What are you talking about? Let's go.
Uh-huh.
And the grandma and Amber are like, we're not going anywhere without our husbands. And the grandma, like, tries to push past David to go outside to look for him. And he's like, Bonnie, you saw this thing. Can you tell them how awful it is? And she was like, yeah, you're right. Like, it is definitely, we should not go after this thing. And dispatch gets on the phone, and Bonnie tells the dispatch lady that there's 2 more people that have gone missing because she doesn't know that they're dead, even though he said they were dead.
Yeah.
And dispatch is like, hey, we'll keep everybody inside. Just keep your windows and doors locked. Someone's on the way. And meanwhile, Grandma, Amber, and Tommy have pushed past David and go outside to look for their family. And we see Dan, policeman, pull up to Bonnie's house, which is empty. And he starts checking around and he finds the dead boyfriend's body. And he requests backup in a cadaver unit. And then we go back to Amber and Grandma and Tommy, who are wandering through the dark looking for these men. And we see David, who goes upstairs in the house to get Troy, who's like sitting on his phone with his headphones. And he rips out his headphones and he's like, are you this disconnected with reality? Like, all hell is breaking loose and you're up here playing your stupid game. And he's like yelling at his child. And Troy's like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Like, I'm okay, whatever. And he's like, well, move because the car is leaving in 30 seconds and you better be in it. And Troy's like, okay, great. And so he just kind of starts like slowly walking out and he sees that the stone is glowing now. And then we flash back to the grandma who is yelling for Will and the grandpa. And we see her through Krampus vision.
Yeah.
And Krampus runs up behind her. And she turns around and screams. And Krampus just backhands her head off.
Oh my gosh.
Clean off. Grandma's gone. Clean off. And then Bonnie is still on the phone with dispatch and Fiona walks out and she has some clothes and boots that she thinks will fit Bonnie because she's still in her robe. And David and Viv walk down the hallway after yelling at Troy into the living room. And then David turns to his wife and is like, you should go get packed. We have to go. Why didn't you do that while you were in the hallway?
Yeah.
Why did you walk all the way out here to... I don't know. It's just one of those dumb things.
Okay.
He tells Bonnie and Fiona that they need to come with him to drive away. And Fiona's like, the police told us to stay here. And he's like, the police don't know what they're dealing with. And Bonnie's like, you're right. Fuck this. Like, this is stupid. And so she hangs up. And then David yells for Troy again. And we see him coming down the hall shoving the stone in a bag. So he's taking it with him. And then we see Tommy and Amber, who are still outside looking for their dad. And Tommy comes across his dad's dead body, which is sad.
It's not something a 12-year-old needs to see.
Yeah. And so his mom grabs him and she's like, we need to go. We need to run. And so they start running. But Krampus grabs the mom and, again, just right into the guts, you know? And so she tells Tommy to run.
Good mom.
And so he runs off. And we flash back to the family who's piling into the rental Jeep. And David starts calling for his mom and Amber. He's like standing outside the car. But Tommy runs up alone. And so he's like, oh, great. They're dead.
Oh.
And so they all pile into the Jeep. And David says, well, I'm never going to knock a gas guzzler again. Like, why does that matter right now?
Yeah.
Why? You're not. Stop.
Yeah. People are dead.
It was stupid.
People are dead, David.
Ew, David.
Yeah.
They start speeding down the highway and Viv keeps yelling at David to slow down. She's like, we're already like freaking out. Just slow down. You're going too fast.
Yeah.
And he was like, you gotta stop getting after me or else you're gonna cause a real accident. And then of course
Krampus.
they drive through drive through a barrier. But it was like one of those like, this is the end of the road wooden barrier, like a wooden sign with like reflectors on it. That the car would have just plowed over.
Yeah.
But they like run into it and like airbags deploy. Okay.
Okay. I mean, I could maybe see airbags deploying if you hit that, but like,
or if
you
you like
keep
hit the
going.
brakes really fast or something.
But you keep going.
Yeah. It was dumb. It was like wood.
That's dumb.
Like one piece of wood with like things holding it up. Anyway, yeah, so they crash and the airbags deploy and we get like a quick glimpse of the mom who has like a blood on the side of her face. And David asks if everyone's okay, and Troy's like, "No, Dad, we're not." He's like, "Okay, well, is everyone alive at least?" You know? And the camera is very obviously avoiding the mom, and like she's not talking throughout all of this. And David says that they'll have to like head out on foot because the car is too damaged, even though no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Would not have been.
Oh, you could still drive.
Yeah. But Bonnie says that they can get to town more quickly if they go straight through the desert, which sounds like a bunch of fucking nope to me. And then they all start kind of getting out of the car. And at this point, David is like, Viv, and he like turns her face toward him, and we can see that she has like a huge gash in her forehead. Oh. So apparently she bashed her head and died. Okay. Yeah. It doesn't look like that much, but you know, brain damage, I guess. I don't know.
She could have just been unconscious, and they're like,
right? They just leave her. I don't know. Yeah.
Krampus comes up like, "Oh, you fuck your family, man.
Come with me. Come with me." But yeah, Troy sees that his mom is dead, and he gets out of the car. And he's like, "You fucker, you killed my mom." And he like punches his dad in the face and all this stuff. Okay. Yeah, so he's aggressive. Okay. And Bonnie reminds them that like the beast is still out there and they need to go. And David goes, "Oh, it's too late." And Krampus is just like swaggering down the highway, coming toward him. He's just like, "Here I come. I'm Krampus. I'm coming to kill you and eat your guts." Like, it was so weird. And, like, his arms were like swinging and his robes were swaying. He was just like, "Here I come." It was really fucking weird. But he... Oh, our recording is now longer than the movie was long. Just saying. But anyway,
your song. I want it on a t-shirt.
Oh my god. But yeah, so he says it's too late. Krampus is already here, and he tells Bonnie that she needs to run and get the kids to safety. And she's like, "Okay, there's heroic and there's fucking stupid. You need to come too. Like, what are you doing?" And he's like, "No, just go." And so they run off. Imagine
running through the desert in nothing but a bathrobe,
right? Well, she changed into Fiona's clothes.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. So she's got boots and everything. She shouldn't, but she did.
I can understand one of the wives, like,
right? That would make more sense. But yeah, Fiona was like, "Here, these are mine, but I think they'll fit you." I'm like, "You are tiny." I don't think so. No. So David goes to the back of the truck and he pulls out like the lug nut wrench thingy from the back. And uses that as a weapon, but Krampus literally grabs his wrist and rips his arm off at the elbow, and then turns David around so that his back is like to Krampus's front. Grabs the bottom of his jaw and just rips his head off backwards. Okay. Yeah. Bloodlust.
Fucking whoa, dude. Yeah. Like, overkill. Yeah.
It's just like nasty. So he's dead. Weird. We then see Dan, the policeman, pull up at the grandparents' house, and he like knocks on the door and announces himself, but no one's there, obviously, and so he just goes inside and he tells the dispatch lady that the place is deserted, and she's like, "Yeah, Bonnie hung up on me, so I don't know what happened." And he's like, "Okay, well, where's my backup?" And she's like, "It's Christmas, man. I don't know where anybody is," and like all this stuff. And we flash back to Bonnie and the kids who are running through the desert, but Troy keeps like stopping because he's too tired. And they're like, "Just ditch the backpack, man. Like, that's slowing you down. What even is that?" And he's like, "No, just leave me alone." Which makes no sense, because earlier they commented on how lightweight the rock was. Because it's, like, made from, I don't know, if it's obsidian or whatever, onyx or whatever. But, yeah, they were like, "Oh, yeah, it's super lightweight." And here he is, like, huffing and puffing, probably because he's a smoker. Yeah. But, yeah, so they urge him to keep going, and they run up to this old trailer. And Bonnie starts banging on the door, and she's like, "Coop, are you home? Let me in." And so this older man opens the door, and he's probably like in his 60s. And she asks if he still has that old truck that they can borrow to get into town. And he's like, "It doesn't run, but you can come inside and whatever." And she's like, "Okay, but we can't stay long because something is after them." And he's like, "Yeah, there's an evil moon outside. I've seen it once before when I was a young man." And we find out that he was the youngest kid in the group of treasure hunters. So what the fuck year was it? Yeah. If this is a 60-ish year old man in 2016. Not the 1920s. No. Yeah. So I don't know. Makes no sense.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So, anyway, he was the old man, and he talks about how they were all looking for Klaus's loot, and he was like this infamous thief, you know, and all this stuff, and they found the stone, and Troy's like, oh, like this stone, and Coop is like, that's why Krampus is chasing you, you big dumb idiot. Yeah, fuck this.
Fucking throw that shit.
Yeah. And he's like, someone has awakened him and all this stuff. And he pulls out this book that I'm pretty sure the cover is in German. It has like a picture of Krampus. And I think it says the legend of Krampus because it's like, Die Legends of Krampus, you know, whatever. And that's really offensive. And I'm sorry. I didn't mean it to come out like that. But it's obviously in another language. But then he opens it up and he's like, here it is. And it's all in English. I was like, no.
Okay.
No. Anyway. One of them is like, does that tell us how to kill him? And he's like, no, but it tells us how to stop him. And he says that the stone is a summoning stone used to bring evil spirits into the world, and St. Nicholas used one. And to stop him, you have to use the elements. So fire is what awakens him, which is why the lantern and the cigarette awaked the stone, I guess. And then earth is what kills him. So he must be like buried, I guess. For reasons. Okay. I don't know if that's real Krampus shit.
So wind and water?
Water was mentioned. Wind was not. Air was not. He was like, so we have earth and fire and water. I was like, no, there's a fourth.
Yeah.
It's pretty important.
Yeah.
But okay.
Okay.
So those don't matter at all.
Yeah, no.
So he devises a plan that they like lead him to the old mine, and they can use dynamite to blow it up while he's inside and bury him. And he says that if they don't send him back, he will keep feasting until his bloodlust is, you know, satiated. And that's when he goes back to the underworld on his own.
Okay.
So I guess that's what happened the first time.
Okay.
Because otherwise, don't know.
Okay. He's
but
just hanging out and being Sasquatch.
Just chilling, yeah. Maybe. Who knows? But yes, so that is what they decide to do. And Bonnie is like, no, we just need to go into town and get some real help. Like, that is a stupid idea. And he was like, he is following you. If you go into town, first of all, what help are you going to get?
Yeah.
Second of all, he's going to kill a bunch of innocent people on the way.
Yeah.
Like, this is the only way to do it.
Yeah.
And so she's like, okay, whatever. And then Bonnie notices that the stone is glowing again. And Coop says that only happens when Krampus is close. So they gotta go.
Yeah.
However he knows that. The book? I don't know.
Maybe?
Don't know.
I mean, I guess if I survived something like that, I would spend the rest of my life learning
searching. Researching everything.
Yep.
So they head out and they head to the mine. And they start to go down the mine shaft, and Troy stops again because he's out of breath. And they're just like walking. They're not really like sprinting or anything. But he stops, and Tommy offers to like carry the bag for him. And he's like, no, I can do it myself. And Bonnie, like, tries to, like, grab his arm to, like, urge him on. And he's like, fuck. Or no, he tells her to fuck off. Yeah. And she's like, fine. She, like, puts up her hands. And she's like, I'm fucking done. I don't care.
It's your fault for dragging him our way anyway.
Right?
So, yeah.
And so they head off without him. And then it shows Dan, who finds the rental Jeep and sees David's body on the ground. And he calls dispatch again, and he's like, where the fuck is my backup? I need backup now. And then we go back to the group, who are now in a more open part of the mine, and Coop is like, okay, this is where we have to do it. And so he starts, like, setting up dynamite, and he, like, tapes it to, like, one of the structural supports. And... so Troy, who is still sitting back in the tunnel, starts to light up a cigarette, because that's what I do when I'm winded and exhausted. And he hears growling, and he sees that Krampus is swaggering his way down the mine tunnel.
Oh, because if I was Krampus, I would swagger fucking everywhere.
Right? Be like, here I come, fuck you bitches. So he's coming down the tunnel, and so he gets up and runs. And then as Coop is like setting up the dynamite, someone asks if it'll be enough to blow up the mine. Or he's like, oh yeah, that'll be enough. And they're like, wait, you're gonna blow up the mine while we're in it?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, we'll be out by the time the fuse actually like blows. We hope.
Who has dynamite just hanging out?
People in weird ass, those rednecks that use it to fish, I guess.
Oh, okay.
The redneck way.
Yeah.
So he sets up the dynamite, and then Troy runs in yelling that Krampus is coming. And so everyone starts running except for Coop, who stays behind to get the dynamite lit. And Krampus pushes him down, but not before the dynamite got lit and everything blows. And then we see the group running out of the mine, and it is now daytime.
Okay.
Like very daytime.
Okay. It took him that long?
Yeah, and it was definitely nighttime.
Okay.
When they went in.
Okay.
So, I don't know.
All right.
So they run out, And it shows Dan standing by the Jeep, just kind of like looking out into the desert. And I think there's another cop car, so apparently someone eventually showed up. Mm-hmm. And he sees Bonnie and Tommy and Fiona running through the desert. And he's like, oh my God. And so he runs up to them. And he's like, we'll get over to the squad cars. Like, we'll figure this all out. Go take a break. Go rest. And he's like, is anyone else out there? And they say that Troy is still out there. And we see Troy wandering through the desert, holding up his cell phone, searching for a signal. Mm-hmm. Because wouldn't you, after running for your life from Krampus?
I mean, if I was attempting to call for help, but
I guess maybe, but he was not. Oh. And then Troy, so he's wandering around and he hears this weird noise. And he looks down and he sees what looks like the bag he was wearing on the ground, like ripped open. Mm-hmm. And I think the stone was also there, but it looked like almost like a used up piece of charcoal, so it was kind of like smushed and broken and stuff. I don't really know. I don't know. So he sees that and he's like, oh, that's weird. And then he sees another lump of like the rock or something further down on the ground. And then all of a sudden he starts yelling and he puts his hands up and a tiny baby Krampus lunges at him and clutches his neck and starts biting him. And so he's like wrestling with this fake baby Krampus on his neck for a minute. Okay. And he's struggling as the thing is latched onto him. And the camera just slowly pans up until he's out of view. And then we hear him die. And then it fades to black. And that's it. So apparently he didn't die. He was just reborn? Question mark?
Maybe that was a mama Krampus looking for her little baby Krampus in an egg. Like, that's...
maybe. Oh, yeah.
Probably not. But, like...
I mean, The Rock was... Maybe. Yeah. Actually. Wow, that would be crazy.
Because, like, all their lore is totally wrong. And, like...
Let me see if I can find the picture.
Fucking with my baby.
She's like, what the fuck are you doing? Because, yeah, like, Let me see if I can find the picture of it as like a mush.
That's just the ending?
That's it.
Okay.
That's just it.
I'm glad Troy died, little fuckface.
It could be an egg. Look at that. That's cracked open like an egg. You're totally right. Oh my God. Krampus baby.
Krampus baby. Yeah, maybe he just like, maybe that's where they actually come from. It's like
maybe every time they're reborn, there's a new rock.
Maybe.
Oh boy.
Ooh. So then that means that they must have like killed Krampus in the tunnel.
I guess.
So.
That's what Krampus baby looks like.
This baby and the baby from 11/11/11
right
fucking
just
duke it
going
out.
At it
fucking oh man
yeah it's bad.
That's bad.
See, this is the barrier they crashed through.
That's nothing. That's you can make all of that with stuff from the dollar store.
Yeah. That's like the boyfriend lying on the ground.
Oh
yeah. So
oh my.
So yeah, it was not good. It was not good. And it was just like, what was the point?
Yeah.
Like, there were so many random little storylines. Like, the policeman, other than being a policeman, like, why did you have to be connected to Bonnie? And why, like, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was dumb.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
Okay.
The acting was not good. And the singing was awful. Oh, gosh. It was terrible. And, like, I wish that it had tied back to the original, like, Legend of Krampus.
Yeah.
Like, it's supposed to be about good kids get Santa and bad kids get fucking Krampus dragging you down to hell or whatever he does. Like, why? There were so many stupid kids. Well, like 2 in this movie. Why didn't Troy die?
Yeah.
In a better way. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, he had to die by baby Krampus.
Yeah. An awful, awful baby Krampus.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah. It was not nearly as bad as any of the Tomcat productions. Mm-hmm. Like, it was actually, like, pretty decently shot and things like that. But, like, the effects and the acting and stuff just made it bad.
Ugh.
And, like, they actually used background music and sound. So there was, like, ambient sound in the background, which was nice. But there was, like, a few parts where the talking was so quiet that we had to turn it up, but then the crickets in the background were like screaming at us. And so it was like really hard to find a good balance.
No, I'm constantly subtitles. Yep.
Oh, we had subtitles on, but it's still, I just wanted, Tubi on the TV didn't let us have subtitles.
Really?
Yeah.
Dumb.
It was way dumb. So, yeah, that was the Krampus Unleashed.
All right.
I guess that's why he's unleashed. Yeah. From the egg.
Yeah.
Baby.
Maybe.
I don't know. But if that's a mama Krampus, that's even cooler. She's like, fuck these bitches. Where's my baby?
Where's my baby?
But Yeah, it's definitely, it has a 2.5, and I think it deserves pretty much that.
Yeah.
Because it was just not great at all. So, yeah. Hope you enjoyed.
Yeah.
There will be lots of screenshots on the YouTube version, so if you want to go check that out, you can. If you want to watch the movie for a good laugh, it's not so bad. I wouldn't say don't watch it, but it's not good. Like, straight up, not good.
Yeah.
So it is on Tubi if you wanna, but you probably don't. I think that's it for this. So check out our other episodes. We are on Spotify and Stitcher and Google and Apple Podcasts. We post up on YouTube. And we have an email, bmoviebashpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to send any suggestions or comments or anything like that.
But don't send any hate. I'm sensitive.
Or do.
That's
if
fine.
you want. It'd be cool just to see, like, one little email in the inbox.
To be like, fuck you guys.
If you take the time out of your day to send that, then, hey, I'll take it.
Yeah.
But yeah, subscribe and follow and do all the things. We love you so much.
We love you.
And have a good time.
Have a good time.
Bye-bye.